Kumusta ka mo? Hi, it's Viktoria Vox. As you can see, I am not in the studio and my lighting is not really on point. And you might hear some background noises, unnecessary background noises that I cannot edit. So, yeah, that's what's happening right now. I'm currently not in the studio, so bear with me. Alright, let's start. Have you ever made yourself your number one priority? Kaagi ka na nga ginpili mo mga gusto mo, mga handom mo. Kaysa sa patihon mo mga gusto sang iban nga tawo para simo. Tonight, we are going to talk about how choosing yourself or oneself is an act of self-love rather than selfishness. When you choose yourself, people think you don't care about everyone else. Ma'am, I just want to live in peace and do the things that I'm passionate with without hurting anyone else. Kung unahon mo gani ka ugalingon mo, malain ka sa panulukan nila. How dare you put yourself first and take care of your mental, physical, emotional, and financial wellness, right? When you put yourself first, they think you're being greedy with what you have, with your life, with yourself. It's always hard to exist with people who always want a piece of you. It's not easy living with people who always want to insert themselves in every part of your life. Wala mo gani na obra, mga gusto nila, malaing ka na dayon. You get called disobedient, wala utang na loob. Now, I actually have a piece of that utang na loob spiel or controversial thing. Link is here. Anyway, kung hindi mo napag-ubrahon ko, no, wala kagapati sa ila. Gina-disrespect mo kuno sila. So, if you live with your parents, you must live by their rules. Pero kung maghalin ka man, lagson ka man nagyapo nila. Gina-expect nila nga kung ano ang ilang mga pabor, sundon mo. Maskin anong ginuubra mo maskin may ubra ka, sundon mo dapat ang mga gusto nila. Maskin wala ka na sa poder nila. Tapos kung hindi mo gani, pag sundon, hambalo nila nga, ingrata ka. Wala ka na gani sa poder nila, kanalang ta kasundon. There are people who wants to be a teacher but their parents want them to be a doctor. There are artists who aren't allowed to be who they are because there's no money in art or design. Wala ka na kwarta. Kuno. There are people that are still in the closet because when you can't be yourself, sometimes you just have to hide it. Unless they personally choose for themselves and not because of fear. Parents want to dress you, mold you into the perfect version of a child they want you to be. But you know what? You don't stay a child forever. Even children can make their own choices based on my experience. I let my toddler choose his own clothes, the toys he wants, at a certain degree, of course, and make them understand. But, it's important to ask them. Like, for example, when you want to kiss them in the cheeks, you ask them, can I kiss you? It's these simple things that will make them a better person if they grow up. People who recognizes consent and boundaries. There are people who don't have the same religious views they were raised in. Like me. There's a woman that I know who wants to move out of her parents' house. She wants independence. She wants privacy. She wants freedom as every person deserves. Pero, ang ginikanan niya, gahambal nga, does that glorify God? My dear, kung sundon mo sila, paano ka? There are couples who want to live on their own. Galing kabati ka pa sa mga istorya nga kung mag-live-in ko, no, immoral, ungodlike. Ang tipo na wala nga bago ka mag-live-in, gusto nila magpakasal ka, anay, sa simbahan. Hindi pwede nga test the waters, anay, bago mo i-commit ang imo nga bilog nga kabuhi, bilog mo nga self, forever, in eternity. There's also someone who doesn't want to get married but is pressured to find a spouse. Tapos, dugangan pa na nga hindi nila gusto nga magpalayo ka pa sa ila. Ang ginapilit ka na ba lang nga ma-star ka mo sa balay nila para makasave ko, no? Di paano ba yung privacy nyo, ya? O kung hindi man, sila ang ma-star sa balay nyo. Di privacy nyo. Unless, kung gusto gid man yan nila, ya, tiila na nayai. Pero kung ang balon, tabi nga pilit, paano na lang naihanbi kung hindi ka mag-set sa mga boundaries? There are even children who are expected to take care of their parents when it should be the parents' responsibility to take care of their kids. Like, for example, responsibilidad sang parents nga sila mabayad sang renta o kung down sang balay nila o kung sang ginaistaran nila. Pero, ang bala nila, yung bata nila nga, okay, so, ang porsyento sang imong nga sweldo, makadto sa balay ta, ha? So how would your children be capable of living on their own, being independent, and living for themselves or saving for their future if you yourself are ruining it by taking some of their savings and some of their cash to put on your own desire or for your own needs? You know, as parents, you're there to provide. It's a responsibility to provide. It is not a choice. Ikaw nagbata sila. Imo na iya nga choice nga magbata iya. Tapos ipasa mo ang responsibilidad mo sa ila. What? To take care of you when you grow old? Now that, my dear, is selfish. That is not self-love. When you depend on other people to pay for your needs, that is selfishness. That is not self-love. Self-love is you want to prioritize yourself. It's when your parents are asking from you and then you say no. This money is for my future. Now that is boundary. That is self-love. You know, some parents would make it impossible for their adult children to choose for themselves. Ang tipo na bala nga gusto kanila maging successful, pero suno sa gusto nila. In short, they want you to be successful in their terms. Some of these parents are afraid that their children recognize their boundaries and having the guts and means to leave the nest, kaya hindi na nila makontrol kung sagwa na. Well, what did you make kids for in the first place? Para kontrolon? Para may masagod sa inyo? Para may masunod sa yapak nyo? Or, for example, you've set a certain standard when it comes to their work. Like, they should be able to work at a company for years. But then, what if your children are not comfortable with the company they're in? Would you just let them suffer? Because for you, it's better in the resume? Or it's better to tell your kachikahan, mga imong beshies, nga ako nga bata, 10 years na sa company, di kung wala nag-grow ang imong nga bata, sige lang. Piliton mo lang. Tapos i-disown mo kung hindi siya magpati, si mo nga hindi. Dira ka lang sa ubra mo nga na. Now that is dictatorship. You didn't even hear out your child. It's already ruining their mental health. But yet, for you, mental health is weakness. So, like, what the hell? Go through with it. It's ridiculous. The problem is you're expected to give unconditional love and sacrifice yourself in the process. Sacrifice what you want, sacrifice the things that you love, sacrifice your happiness, sacrificing your own future sometimes. They say they love you while telling you to sacrifice yourself, but love does not gaslight, control, or guilt trip. It is not right for anyone else to demand that we don't put ourselves first. When you choose yourself, some people would get upset because you didn't need their approval. But you know what? You never needed their approval. You were just raised to believe in something else before you could even believe in yourself. And that's why you had to go through a lot to finally be able to choose yourself. There are plenty of stories of people who want to travel on their own, live on their own, and buy the things that they want. Somewhere there's a fiercely independent person, and that's because they chose to live for themselves. Mahambal sila nga kaambisyosa sa iya. Yes, dear. And that's why she's going places. She thrives to do what she's meant to do. She chose herself. Yeah, but you know what? Actually, wala ka man niya dapat yalabot sa ginahambal nila. Basta wala ka may ginatapakan, ah? Choosing yourself teaches you to choose whether you want to be in this situation or not. Whether just letting it go completely would be better than holding the weight of anger within you. As for my situation, as for myself, I chose to just leave. Not like leave temporarily. It's just like I chose to cut them off. Because, you know, if you've given a person or people so many chances, you would soon realize who's the idiot one here. Who's the person who haven't set their boundaries and like say, is this an example I want to give to my child? Would I want my children see their mother take other people's and not stand up for themselves and learn to just let it go? When you cannot control the situation, when you cannot control those people who are hurting you, who are traumatizing you, who prevents you from loving yourself, Is that a good example to your future children or to your children? No. You know what? Sometimes standing up means letting go. Standing up means cutting those people who are toxic for your mental health and for your well-being. If they think you're stepping on their ego, girl, that's on them. Sino hindi gusto malipay man? Sino hindi gusto nga makahahon man? Sino gusto mamigado na lang forever? Kung pilion mo gani, kaugalingon mo, ang balon nila wala kang gataha sa ginikanan mo. Having self-love teaches you to value your right to choose. Self-love helps you get to know yourself even more. What you like, what works for your body, what makes your eyes spark, what makes your heart smile, what makes you feel good, and what you need. It teaches you the value of consent and boundaries. We should all know by now how consent is so important. No one should be shamed, but society seems to be more focused on shaming the victims of what they did not consent to. It teaches you to be more firm with your boundaries. It makes you braver, stronger. You're happier when you choose yourself. Mas free ka pa. You know, for me, natural lang tagun kanila selfish. Sometimes may hisaon, sometimes may suya, sometimes gapati lang gid na sila yang the only ways to show love are obedience and submission. But that's not you. What matters is that you know it's radical love for yourself that makes you choose you. To respect yourself means you have to choose yourself. Paano na lang nabi kung ang gusto sang nanay mo, sang tatay mo, sang partner mo ang pirmi masunod? Mapaayon ka na lang para lipay sila? Paano kaya? Sometimes you do things for our family or friends because it makes them happy. And it makes you happy to be helping other people. And that's a great choice. But you need to choose for yourself without losing yourself. To choose yourself is to love yourself. It should be the standard and the norm. Diba kisa gusto ta mag-unwind, mag-date-date, mag-shopping, mag-obra sa kung ano man da ang gusto ta? We pamper ourselves. We do things that we love. Choosing yourself means letting yourself evolve as you are. Choosing yourself means wearing what you want, going to places that you want. And you know, taking care of your body the way that you should. Sometimes we cut off people for our peace of mind, for our mental health. Ginakuga ka na, ginsakit ka, ginbuli ka. Tapos ang balan ka pa nga, pamilya mo man na sila. Palanggaan lang. Palanggaon mo maskin ano matabo. Palanggaon lang, mas ginaabuso ka na. To choose yourself is to forgive yourself. For being too hard on yourself for making mistakes, no one should force you to forgive others. No one should be able to manipulate you into staying with other people. And no one, definitely no one, should tell you to be comfortable in something that you are not just because they're family. Ara na iya sa tawo ang mag-judge, magmarites, magkaren. Kung wala ka man lang gid may ginasakit, then let them talk. You cannot stop people from judging you. You can only change your perspective on how to treat other people's judgment of you. And you know what? A piece of advice. If you do have that self-love and have that boundaries, then whatever judgment people may have of you, you don't really give. Because if you know truly in yourself that you don't need anyone's approval, not your family's, not your friends, not your partners, not everyone else around you, then my dear, you are a success. You have been successful at trying to love yourself. Without self-love, there's no living. There's only survival. What do you want? What do you love? Do it all. Choose yourself. This is the 49th episode of this Makeup Therapy series, and if you like content such as this, please hit the like, the share, comment your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!